Yes, I'm outside doing my daily exercise. I thought we'd take this opportunity to talk a little bit about music. It's something that all of us need in our videos from time to time, or all the time for some of us. Today, I'm going to walk you through the easy mode process I use to add music to my videos in DaVinci Resolve. Oh, and this video is sponsored by Audiio. 2 eyes. I download pretty much all of my music these days from a website called Audiio, who I've posted a video about in the past, and who just happens to be the sponsor of this video. I signed up to Audiio a year or so ago, just after they launched, and they were running their $199 lifetime subscription offer. I've let all of my other music service subscriptions lapse since then, because Audiio offers me more music than I'll ever need in my lifetime. Oh, the light is constantly changing here, it's horrible. Every week, they add new music to the platform and then send out an email letting you know about the new artists that are on the platform. And now they've also started doing sound effects as well. I posted a review of Audiio a few months ago, and there's a link up in the corner for that. But they reached out to me to see if they could sponsor a video because they're running that special offer again, and there's a link down in the description below if you want to check that out. But I've had a lot of people asking me about how I do my music for my videos, so I thought I would take this opportunity to go through that process in DaVinci Resolve. But right now it is freezing cold out here. My hands can barely function holding this camera. So yeah, I think I'm gonna head back to the house, which is only a 5-minute walk away, and I'll see you in the warmth in DaVinci Resolve. Alrighty, so here we are in DaVinci Resolve, and I'm going to go through my basic process of choosing my audio, how I'm going to fit it onto my timeline. You can see that I've got a fully edited up video here. I've got all my main camera sorted, I've got my B-roll on there, I've got my titles and my transitions. So we're going to head over to Audiio. When I'm looking for music for my videos, they tend to sort of have a certain format. You can see here I've got my little intro bit here where I'm talking and doing my thing, then the title comes up, and I want kind of a hit to come in when the title comes up, and then we usually go back to a bit more talking, and then we get off into the main thing. We've got all our B-roll and our titles and all the stuff. But the first thing I'm going to be looking for is this intro title bit. I generally try to find music that has a bit of a build-up at the beginning and then a punch, because then I can time up the punch to coincide exactly with the title the way I want it to. But I also want something that after the punch, it sort of sticks with it for about 20 seconds or so, because I like to be able to match the intro with the ending, so that, you know, once we get to the end of the footage and then it goes into the final 20-second clip for the cards for YouTube, it has that same sort of feel as the beginning. What I'm looking for is something like this, where it has kind of a little bit of a build-up. I don't want something like this one, which, as good as it may be, I don't know, I haven't listened to it. I don't want something that just punches in right from the first note, like that. Let's see what this one sounds like. See, this slowly builds up, and it's building up, but there's no real punch there, so I'm not into that one. Yeah, no, that's a bit too somber. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna zip through a whole bunch of these and get back to you when I found one that I like. I'm actually just going to start going through my favorites, because randomly looking through the list is not helping. So I'm going to go and look through ones that I've listened to and liked before, and see if I can find something that fits the mood. Alright, I quite like this one, and I probably should have gone to my favorites first because this one's pretty cool, but I'm going to download that. So I'm going to drag that piece of music in that I just downloaded. Yeah, I quite like this for a 3D printing video because it's a bit techy, it's a bit weird, it's a bit 80s and retro, and there's our sort of intro bit. So I'm going to set that as the endpoint. I am going to play all of it before this, but I'm setting the endpoint here so that when I drag this down to the timeline, I can just line that up straight with that title card, and then I can just pull the beginning back. So let's see how this sounds. Why? Well, one, because I've needed to print some of this stuff. But also, yeah, as you can see already, it's kind of loud. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop into Fairlight real quick. I wanted to try and get some decent Cura profiles. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at the levels of channel 1, which is my voice, and channel 2, which is the music. And I want to try and get the music to about the same level. Profiles now, and there's links to download them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag channel 2 down by about -10. That way, when my voice stops and the music starts, you know, your headphones don't make your head explode. And all the info in the description down below. But here I'm going to go through them. Why you might want well, maybe I'll knock it up just a little bit. You might want to adjust. Try -8-ish. There we go. So the reason I changed the level here in Fairlight rather than keyframing it is that I want 0 to be my bass for the music. So what I'm going to do is I am going to listen through this first bit of the video and then dial the music down to where I can hear myself over the music. And usually I find a good place to start is about -18. That gets it fairly quiet, but loud enough usually that you can still hear it underneath the voice. But also I wanted to try and get some decent Cura. Here it doesn't seem loud enough, so we'll try -12. Profiles together. I've muted it. That would do it. Profiles now. Yeah, so we'll go back to -18. Why? Well, one, because I've needed to print some of this stuff, but also you can hear my voice over the music, which sounds fine to me. I'm listening to it on my Beyerdynamic headphones, and it sounds good. I can hear myself over the music, and I can understand myself just fine. All the info in the description down below. So what we're going to do now as you print is I've queued it up to the beginning of that last word, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a keyframe there, and then I'm going to go to right on the transition, and I'm just going to reset that keyframe back to 0, and then we're going to play it back, and we'll hear the low music with my voice on top, and then it'll fade up to that title. Adjust as you print. So first off, now you can hear when the music's loud, we have that problem where you can't hear me again. Let me mute that. We need to find that first syllable where I talk, because that's where we want the volume to be back down at -18 again. And then I want us to go back to here, and we'll set this back up to 0. So now it fades in from -18 to 0, and then fades back out from 0 to -18. So first off, why Cura? And when it comes back, actually, because it's sort of really gotten into the swing of things, it's a bit louder than it was. So we'll try and knock it down to -21. So first off, why Cura? What's wrong with Snapmaker Luban? Well, that sounds good, but it's a little bit punchy. So I'm just going to drag that over to there. And I'm going to hide the media pool because we don't need that anymore. But I'm going to go into the effects library, and in the audio transitions, I'm going to go crossfade. I will drag that all the way over here so it takes about 10 seconds to fade out to nothing. And now you'll hear when we play this clip, after it fades out for the audio so that you can hear me speaking again, it will just slowly fade out to nothing. So first off, why Cura? What's wrong with Snapmaker Luban? Well, there's nothing really wrong with it, but Cura opens up a lot more options to tell the Snapmaker 2 how we want to print the models we want to make. Different models might benefit from... And by the time you get to the end of it, you don't notice that there's no music anymore, or that it was even there. It's just gone. But I do want to have something playing for a lot of this because I've got these titles, and what I don't want to happen is for it to just be dead silence on these titles. So I've got a couple of other pieces of music here that I found earlier. I don't know if these are going to work or not. They may not, but I'm going to have a listen to them, and you can listen with me and we'll see how they sound. So here's the first one. This is probably a bit too punchy. Yeah, a little bit. That one's a little too upbeat, outdoorsy, 60 frames per second slow motion type music. We'll try this one. This song's interesting because it sounds very different in different parts of the song. I quite like this beginning bit here with these guitars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that as the in point. That is the out point. How long is this clip going to be? It's not very long. One thing I often do with music is that I will set it up as a loop. I will literally just take a chunk out of the song and just leave it playing the whole time. So that's what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna go to the beginning of the clip. And one of the great things about DaVinci Resolve, and you can do this in some other editing applications as well, you can see I've taken the snapping off. If I go to a video clip, you'll notice that as I move it, it moves one frame at a time. But with audio, you can literally move it as fine and as granular as you like. So I can pop that right there. Let's bring you back to the beginning here. And then we need to find exactly where it ends. And it is literally right there. So I've got a loop that in theory runs infinitely. So what I'm going to do is I am going to hold down Alt, click and drag it over. I'm going to turn my magnet back on for snapping and match that right up to the end of that first clip. When we hit play, both of these should just seamlessly run into each other. They won't, but this is the theory. Close, very close. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn the snapping off, go down to here. And I know the beginning is right, so I'm going to drag the beginning just to over there. And that sounds pretty good to me. So now I'm going to delete this second clip that I just added because the end of this hasn't been tweaked. This now is all perfectly tweaked. The beginning is where it's supposed to be. The end is where it's supposed to be. And now I can basically just Alt, click and drag, Alt, click and drag, Alt, click and drag. I can select 4 of these and Alt, click and drag 4 at once. I can zoom out. Alt, click and drag a bunch more, drag a bunch more, drag a bunch more, and you can see we've basically filled the whole video. Now I'm just going to drag and match these up to each other. But now if I play through one of these other clips where I'm talking and then the titles come on, and it should happen right about the time of this. What I should have done, one of the great things about DaVinci Resolve as well, is that you can batch change a whole bunch of clips at once. What I should have done before I did this was set the volume to -18, but you can just select them all afterwards, tap it in, and it'll do it to all of them. So let's see how that sounds with my voice. You can see that it instantly gets added to the list of the profiles available to us. Now we just need to choose one, hit slice, and that's it. That sounds good, but I'm going to knock it down just a tad more to -21, and then we'll see how that sounds. Delete everything that's in the start G-code box, and then paste in what we copied from the start. So it's there, it's in the background, it's quite subtle, but it's there. But this is, I mean, I literally just picked this teeny tiny, like 30-second chunk of a song. I'm ignoring all the rest of this, which, I mean, it sounds good. But it just doesn't fit as background music for this kind of video. But I'm going to delete all those because I don't need those. We are going to drag this introduction clip out to the end. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of these last couple of keyframes on here. But I'm going to leave the first two because what I will probably do is, let's see, how far back can I? Actually, no, I'm going to drag it to there. I'm going to drag you up. Because what I want to do is I want to get this loud keyframe happening right as I finish talking. Down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. So that's right where I want it to get loud again. Below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Oh, actually, no, I want that on that beat right there. It's there. See you next time. That's it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag that over. No, what are you doing? You should be on 0. And then we'll drag that over. And I'll see you next time. So there we go. And now we'll just drag this out. And we'll get rid of that fade transition that we had at the beginning. So now what I want to do, I don't necessarily need all of this at the beginning. I don't need all of this at the end. What I'm going to try and do and see how this works. We'll turn off the media pool. We don't need it. Bring up the effects library. I'm going to do a crossfade, but I'm going to do it over about 10 seconds or so and see what happens. Or 8 seconds. So there we are, 8 seconds. Super chat. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more. Again, if you have any questions or there's something you'd like to see me make a video about, drop them down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. So you can see over an 8-second transition, the effect is so subtle that you barely really notice at all that anything's happening. I mean, this is as basic as it gets with my music. There isn't really that much that's all that advanced in this. The only thing left to do now is to go all these bits where there's no audio, where I'm not speaking. It's all music. So what or music? It's all titles. So I'm going to go into these bits. I'm going to find the last bit where I do speak, and then I am going to keyframe up the audio to 0 decibels. So we'll start it there. We'll set our keyframe, and we won't go all the way up to 0. We'll go to -6. Profiles. And then we'll set another one at the end there. And we'll go to our first say something, and then we'll go -21. So now if we listen to this little segment of the video, profiles, it goes up a little bit for the title. If you haven't done so already, and then it fades back down when I start talking again. So that's what we can do. We can just go from -21 to -6, and that will do just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these, and then I'll be back with you in a minute. Alrighty, so I have just gone through. You can see I set all the keyframes for each of the little clips where the titles come up. The only thing I want to do now is double check the ending here. What's that, 1418? Well, yeah, I don't want to play all of that right now, but I want to check this transition again, and I want to check how that fades in. So let's have a listen to the ending. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more. Again, if you have any questions, you can hear it just fade in there. To see me make a video about, drop them down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. It didn't. It's lagging because of the screen capture, which is annoying. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. There we go. So that's pretty much it. That's the basics to how I edit the music in my videos. It's essentially an intro and an ending. And if it's something like this, where, you know, the visual side of the content is pretty consistent throughout. Here, it's mostly overhead camera, looking at 3D prints, or it's B-roll in the software and looking at the settings. You know, it's consistent music throughout. So this is going to be it for editing this video. I'm going to save this out. I'm going to render it. Here's another quick tip for DaVinci Resolve. So I have presets for all my different video formats. So I'll select the format for the video I want to render. I'll enter a name. I'll add it to my queue. Here you can see I've rendered this once already. Usually after I've done the first cut, I'll render out the whole video and save it to a file. Here's what you can do though. Instead of having to remember what settings you used last time, all you need to do is right click on here, clear the render status, tell it to render it again and replace the original file. Now it's going to go through and render that whole video all over again. But right, I am going to leave this to it and I will be back. So editing's all done. I'm out in the garden with a nice hot coffee, but that's pretty much it when it comes to adding music to my videos. Super simple and straightforward. My process was essentially the same for the Rerunning PLA Plus review too. Start with a piece of music that has a build up and a punch when the title comes in, then something mellow that can just sit in the background during the spoken bits before something with a bit of grunt kicks back in at the end. The only difference with the PLA Plus video was that with the jumps in the looped audio, I added a crossfade transition to let the end of the loop trail off when the new one came in. This can often help to add continuity and prevent the jump from being obvious if there's no natural easy cut points in the music that just butt up against each other. For example, here's what it sounded like just butting up the two clips together like we just did for the Snapmaker video. And here's what it sounds like with a 1 second crossfade. Big difference, huh? But other than that, the process was pretty much exactly the same. I hope this helps to give you an easy way to add music to your YouTube videos, and while I showed the process here in DaVinci Resolve, the same techniques can be applied in many other editing applications like Premiere Pro and Final Cut Pro 2. A big thank you to Audiio for sponsoring this video, and if you want to take advantage of their current deal that'll let you get their lifetime music subscription for $199, then check out the link in the details in the description down there. If you found this video helpful, or if you just liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more. If you have any questions about my editing process or anything to do with adding music to your videos, then drop them down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.